So, cyber schmoozing. Get out online and start networking. And this also means Twitter. Now, how many of you are on Twitter? Okay. How many of you understand Twitter? Great. I know. All right. Here's the trick to Twitter. Twitter is all about identifying and isolating conversation. Here's what you never want to do with Twitter. You never want to use your Twitter homepage, your landing page on Twitter, to isolate conversation, because that will make you crazy. You want to use a service like Tweetdeck, which is, let me spell it for you. What do I do with my pen again? Here we go, I keep misplacing it. I want to use a service like Tweetdeck or hootsuite.com. And you want to isolate your conversations. Here's what these two sites will do for you. How many of you are familiar with Tweetdeck? How many of you have used it? Okay. Tweetdeck, what that will do is it will show you all of your Twitter posts, just like your landing page would, okay? It'll show you every time somebody has mentioned you, and I'm going to tell you in a minute why that's important, okay? And if you are looking for keywords in your industry, you can isolate those columns as well. Let me talk you through that for just a second. There are two conversations that I isolate on Twitter, publishing and authors. And on my Tweetdeck, I have two panels that run. Plus, I have selected people that I want to make sure that I read every single one of their Twitter posts for whatever reason, okay? So I isolate those two panels, okay? Then I have a whole list of people who have mentioned me, or, as it's called in Twitter, because it has now fostered its own language, retweeted, right? Right? So, and then I have all my followers, all the people that I follow, okay? Now, whenever somebody has mentioned author or publisher, it pops up in that little panel. And sometimes it's just random conversation, nothing really to do with publishing, right? But many times, people will post questions, or they will post new information, or something of interest to my followers. So I'll go in there and I might answer their question, even if I'm not following them. Or I might decide to retweet what they've said to my people, okay? That's another form of social networking, because now I'm offering information. If I can answer a question in 140 characters or less, mind you. If I can answer a question, I will go in there and do that. When I do that, I find that a lot of times I'll end up with anywhere between 10 and 50 new followers. Be helpful, okay? Do not be impressed by big numbers on Twitter. Do not be impressed by people who say, I have 500,000 people following me on Twitter. Believe me, I would love to have 500,000 people following me. I mean, there's sort of like a rock star element to that, isn't there? Like, 1,000,000 people follow me on Twitter. It is not the amount of people that you have following you. It is how active they are. When I did an analysis of the top Twitter people in Southern California, the #1 person only had 5,000 people following them, because their posts were being retweeted more than anybody else's. That's the secret to Twitter. How many times is your stuff being passed along? Now let me tell you another little secret behind Twitter. You might only have 100 followers, but if you're posting really quality stuff and you're getting retweeted, as they say, you could be building your little Twitter tribe or followers at numbers that you never imagined. I know, isn't that great? Because if one of your followers, let's say you have 100 followers, one of your followers retweets you, and that follower has 100,000 people on their list, right? Now that one message has gotten in front of 100,000 new people. So again, it's about the quality of the people following you. Do not buy into these scams where people say, I can get you 10,000 people overnight, okay? I only have 10,000 followers. Now, you may be impressed by that number. Most internet marketers are like, loser, right? But because they have these 500,000 people who are dormant followers, right? But I will tell you, there are ways, as Grail used the term monetize, there are ways to monetize these tools. First is identify what your audience wants. Identify what your audience wants and give that to them. People will pay a lot of money for a funnel, okay? I can become a funnel within Twitter for publishing and marketing. Now, I'm not the only funnel. Grail's a funnel. There are a lot of other funnels out there, okay? But you become a funnel, you become a voice. And I will retweet people, I'll link to other sites that I found, blogs, whatever, okay? The key to Twitter is you don't have to post all your content in 140 characters. You can use a service called Twitter Feed. Again, it's got this whole weird, bizarre little language, right? Twitter Feed. And you can, I apologize for my writing, obviously I was never a school teacher. You can go to Twitter Feed and you can link your blog to Twitter. So every time you update your blog, it'll update your Twitter account, okay? We're gonna talk in a minute because I'm seeing like people go into overwhelm, like, oh my God, now I have so much to do, I have so much to do. I'm gonna talk to you in a second about how to manage this content so you can actually have a life and sleep at night. People actually ask me all the time, they say, because I have my Facebook and Squidoo and Twitter and the blog, do you ever really sleep? Not really. I try not to, it's a waste of time. But here are some, the Twitter feed is one of the secrets that I use because again, it link your blog to your Twitter account, okay? And what it does then, it literally just puts in the headline and then the link over to your Twitter post. Twitter is not right for everybody. All these social media tools that I'm talking about, with the exception of blog commenting, not always right for everybody. You have to identify what's right for you and your market. And frankly, what you have the time to do. I had a guy come to me last week for a consultation. He said, I don't really understand. I have 350 social networks that I'm a part of, and I'm not getting any traffic. Well, how often are you on them? Well, I don't know, once a quarter. Alrighty then. When you ask and answer your own question. But the idea really is to isolate. I mean, you know, when we look at really effective social marketing, SEM, okay, we look at three properties: Twitter, Facebook, and Squidoo. How many of you have heard of Squidoo? Okay. Squidoo is Squidoo.com is the brainchild of Seth Godin, who is likely one of the most brilliant marketing minds on the planet. He also is one of these guys who, if he predicts something, it's pretty much going to happen because he's so in tune, usually isolated to publishing, he's so in tune with publishing and all of that. Yes? Seth Godin. Seth Godin. I actually have him. If you guys subscribe to the newsletter, you'll get a ping on that. He's going to be on my radio show on the 22nd of January. I'm really excited. I'm going to try really hard not to gush. I'm a huge Seth Godin fan. I'm still like this bizarre little, I don't know, George Clooney thing or something. But no, really, he's phenomenally brilliant. I mean, he's so smart. And he developed Squidoo. It started out kind of as a little bit of a niche social network, but it's really grown since then. And the reason that I like Squidoo is because it flies under the radar screen, meaning it's not as glamorous as Facebook, because everybody's like, ooh, Facebook. And Facebook is glamorous because, let's face it, an 18-year-old started Facebook, right? Or whatever he was, 20 or whatever, right? We're also envious. Do you know the guy, the Plenty of Fish guy? Did you hear about this story? He's like the Facebook guy. Plenty of Fish is a dating site. I was reading this in Fast Company about a month ago. The guy's like 23 years old. He is a billionaire. He just threw up a one. He's like, I needed a date. He needed a date. He created Plenty of, I need a date. I'm like, I put up a website. I'm gonna go to a dating site. I'm out of here. I'm gonna run a dating site. But these guys, you know, who start these properties, you know, Facebook is a great site. But any of you who are on Facebook know that it needs a lot of TLC. You gotta be on there. You gotta be updating your status. You gotta be updating, you know, all of this other stuff. You've gotta be populating Facebook with a lot of content. I have a Facebook profile and I have a fan page for the company. So I'm telling you right now, I love it, but it requires a lot of TLC. Squidoo does not require that much effort. And I'll tell you something, Squidoo, I call Squidoo the Facebook for authors because they're getting ready to roll out a lot of programs, and I would imagine that Seth is probably going to talk about this on the call. They're going to getting ready to roll out a lot of programs, book clubs, author niches, all kinds of things within Squidoo. The thing about Squidoo is that what we have found, the conversion on this site is really, really, really good. How many of you have ever wondered if your Facebook profile is even paying off? Right? Because then you're befriended by this kid in high school that you didn't really like anyway, and it's like, what, you know, what's my point being on this site? Right? Is this monetizing? Is this monetizing? There you go. Well, tell the Plenty of Fish guy. You need to be on Facebook. You know, is it really monetizing, or is it really going where you need to go? And what we have found, just from some internal research, is Squidoo tends to be, the people who are on Squidoo tend to be closer to a buy. Meaning that they really are going on there looking for something. And any of the bestseller campaigns that we ran, that were in internet marketing, they were all in Squidoo. We never ran them in Facebook. Yes? Nothing. No. You just go to Squidoo and start up a page. That's it. Just go to Squidoo. Squidoo.com. It's all free. It's all free. So